Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon. Oh, snap. Sorry about that. Just sending out some invites real quick, guys, and we'll get right down to it. How about that? It's an open panel today, so please come on in. Come on, come on. You know how we do in Justyn land over here. Everyone's invited to the party. Everybody's invited to come and have a good time, yeah. Okay. If you would like to come up to the panel, we have an open panel for whoever would like to talk. Okay, got some invites sent out. How's everybody doing this weekend so far? Well, it's almost the weekend. It's Friday. But hope everyone's doing, having a great day and upcoming weekend. Hope you have something good planned. All right, and let's bring someone up on the panel. Hello, J Love. How we doing today? How's everything going with your day?
Hey, Justyn, how you doing?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Just dealing with the hot weather.
Yeah, summertime. It's the summertime. So you have any good plans? I don't have any thoughts about where Gypsy is for her birthday.
No.
Now, what's your opinion on? Do you think Ken and Gypsy are on a break or broke up? Because it's been confirmed on a live with Morbid that Ken has been boarding Parker, their dog, and I'm assuming if Gypsy can't take care of the dog, I doubt she's taking care of the kid. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that they broke up because I saw a post that Gypsy did. It was in a bathroom, and I was like, wait a minute, that bathroom looked familiar.
I saw that.
And it's the bathroom that's in her dad and stepmom's house. And so I saw that. At first, I was like, okay. And then I heard about Ken boarding the dog while he goes to work.
Yep.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was. You know what? He was talking about it. He was talking about it like it was so nonchalant. Like it, I'm just like, well, wait a minute. It's like, why would if you and Gypsy are together and she's at home and she don't have, we know she doesn't have a job, not a real one. But why couldn't she? The dog. It's a dog. I mean, he's not like a puppy.
Right.
Who needs attention every two seconds. It's a dog. And you've had him for a while. You take him outside. You take him for a walk. It's like that's. I mean, you never know. It may not be a breakup. It could just be some time apart, just to blow off steam. You never know. So, I mean, again,
yeah, you never know when it comes to her.
A lot of things happening at the same time because you also have, that happening, and then at the same time, both her and Ken dismantling and deactivating their accounts again. At the same time. So you never know. It could be something calculated and then they come back on Gypsy's birthday and it's ha ha ha. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and fine. I'm thinking just for her birthday, she'll reactivate her TikTok just so she can grift.
Well, you know how many times she said she was going to get rid of it for good? Like, I just deleted my 9-point-something million. She's never going to do that. But, it's like, and some people ask me, well, would you do that? I'm like, no, but I wouldn't sit there and BS my audience and say I'm going to do it when I'm not going to do it. If I did it, I would need to announce it. I would just do it. There's no, this is not an airport. I don't need to announce my departure. I will just go. And I've done it before. I took like a break for months. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't have to do any of that. So, but when someone's seeking attention, you tend to document and announce everything. And, at this point, and this is just my common sense perspective and what I see from the outside, I think there's I think the disconnect between Gypsy and Mia, especially, are just about at its peak. I would be surprised if Gypsy's not even invited to the
Yeah.
wedding. I
And
could be
I've
wrong, but
noticed, I
yeah,
noticed lately, like Mia posted about fitness and a tan, and
yeah,
then here afterwards you see Gypsy posting like, in a sense, about fitness and a tan.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, it could be anything from just blowing off steam to
Yeah.
maybe they broke up. I mean, I don't think they broke up because I think Gypsy would have much more of a reaction. You know what I mean? Like she'd be posting things about heartbreak and posting. You know, it would be a meltdown event for her if they actually legitimately broke up. So I'm gonna have to kind of go on a limb and say, based on Gypsy's impulsivities of like if something really like hurt her emotionally, it would be Ken left her, and I just don't think. I don't think that's the case. I think they might be on a break, if anything. But it is interesting that he was boarding Parker. I'm like, why would you need to board your dog if you have someone at home to watch the dog? And didn't give any details. That was just kind of like out there for speculation or something.
You're right. Like if they didn't break up, then she could possible thing. She could be just spending some time, like the week, a couple days, whatever, at her dad and stepmom's house, and
Yeah,
they already have animals.
yeah,
Um, so Ken could just be boarding the dog because so they're not around the other animals.
yeah, yep, something like that. I mean, do they have any other pets besides Parker? I thought Parker was like the only pet. I mean, there could be a cat.
They just have Parker.
That's
Gypsy
what.
and Ken just have Parker,
Yeah, I didn't
but
think about it.
I believe Rod and Christy just. I think they have two pets.
Yeah.
I know they have that little dog Aurora.
Oh, during that crash out video of Gypsy feeding Parker, Parker's like standing 2 feet behind her while this is going on. I felt really nervous for Parker knowing that was going on so close to him. Just all things considered. Again, like one thing that struck me about Gypsy's personality is, her impulsivity. She's very impulsive. She's very emotional.
Oh yeah.
She flies off the handle very easily. So you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not saying she would or wouldn't do anything to the dog, but it's just like, it just made me nervous with those scissors and what she was doing so close to Parker, standing right behind. And Parker looks a little bit baffled. Like you can tell by his mannerisms, he's not wagging his tail. He's kind of looking in different directions. You get an element of concern.
Yeah.
Plus, we don't know.
Yeah, I observed that.
We don't know what the bond is between mother and dog because it's like, do you remember that one video that Christy took of when they went to Ryan's house to go get those photographs and Pixie ran right by Gypsy, ran straight to Christy? I'm like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
I posted a video on that a while ago, and the first thing that happens when Ryan opens the door is Pixie goes outside and goes running right past Gypsy, and Gypsy even greets the dog, and the dog 100% ignores her. It's just like, hey, Pixie. Pixie goes right to Christy. So I thought that was interesting. I'm just like, maybe she just doesn't connect very much with the dog. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about Parker. Parker is, that it seems like Ken is more, you know, Ken seems to be more affectionate with Parker because he's posted all the pictures of him and Parker, and he was the one. Even on the show, he was interacting with Parker more than anyone else, if not the only person interacting with him.
Yeah.
And just I don't know. It was just one of those things though that just had me nervous with the blanket thing there. And believe me, it's like the blanket video. Even though some people could downplay it all they want, I know Ken already downplayed like, oh well, she was just mad at me. It's like, bro, it's not normal when somebody goes out of their way to get up a tripod and record themselves cutting up a blanket with scissors and crashing out. It's one thing if you did that and like your home camera caught that and you were just in the moment, but to actually go out of your way to set up a camera and record yourself doing that, like that really gets me to look at that. That really has me looking at it sideways. It's like, who does that?
Right.
Nobody normal does that. It's like it's one thing to be upset, record a message and whatever, but just like she set up a tripod for this meltdown specifically, and like it just really fascinates me that like because to me I used to think like melting down was something that was in the moment right there. If it gets captured, someone else captures it, and it's just kind of there like naturally. It's like this was like premeditated and planned, and made sure that tripod and everything was all set up. And I forget who released it and how it got released, but it's just
Yeah,
I
I'm
think if that
wondering
exists,
about
yeah,
I'm wondering about like who actually released it because she sent it to Ken.
I forget who did, but I know maybe it was Autumn. Was it Autumn that did it? Was it his sister? I don't know. I don't want to say for sure. Hey, let's go. But yeah, I don't want to say for sure who did or who didn't, but it was just again, just I mean, it lit up the internet. I remember, even if you go
Oh
on
yeah.
right now to YouTube, so many really big content creators were like really disturbed at that blanket video, and they covered it. A lot of people covered it, and oh, it was morbid. Okay, so it was. It's weird though. It's like morbid is always like he's switching sides. He's I don't know what he's doing. It's just like he kind of goes from here, and then he's been commenting under my account under a second name and whatever. It's just like, dude, just come as yourself. And he actually, I think you did. He started following me under his morbid name. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
if you want to spar with me about stuff, you want to comment on whatever. It's just like, just stop coming with sock accounts, dude. I only have one account. It's like I'm not a coward. I don't need to go on some separate account and pretend I'm not who I am. It's like if I have something to say, I'll say it. I don't need to hide behind anything. That's the difference between me and some other people. It's like they have to hide behind something. I don't feel the need to do that for whatever reason. If I understand some people want the anonymity, but it's just like when it comes to my opinions, especially about this case, I'll talk as me. I don't need to pretend I'm being
right.
someone else. But
And one thing I noticed yesterday, I don't know if it's Morbid's actual account or not, but it looks like he followed me yesterday.
it's his account because I know which one. There was like a pretend morbid account. You could see like based on the following, based on the how old the videos are. If it's someone's
Yeah, there's just two videos on there.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what
But yeah, I'm not following that account.
morbid changes sides and changes things as it's convenient for him. So it's just like what I mean, like. And who know, and that's fine if he wants to do that. But like the last thing, like I remember, like I guess him and case studies have like a like battle back and forth now. I remember like there's a lot of doxing and stuff going on. I'm like, you know what, guys, just knock it off, man. It's just like you guys are supposed to be grown men, and you guys are acting like a bunch of kids. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
unnecessary. It's ridiculous, and it's like I sit back and I watch this, and I'm just like, I can't believe these are grown men doing this. It's like really,
right.
you guys are acting like a bunch of high school kids, and it's like you're dragging each other's families into it. You're doxing other content creators. It's just like this is really stupid. Like what I mean? Like come on here, talk about true crime or whatever your passion is, and keep it moving. Like why do you have to sit there and threaten each other's personal lives? Like I don't get this.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean,
Yesterday morning, I posted a video of an Instagram post that Gypsy did, and right now it's got over 8,000 views.
interesting.
I was,
You know
I
what's
was like, wow, it
you
went
know
out quick.
what's crazy is like Gypsy can get all like these views and get this huge following on TikTok, but when she goes to YouTube or another platform, she can barely crack like 5, 10,000 views on a video, and she can barely get past like 20, 30,000 subscribers. It's like how do you go from millions on one to like just a few, like 20, 30,000 on another? That begs the question.
Yeah,
But it's funny that she announced the whole PR team, and it seems like the first piece of advice the PR team gave her was get off the internet. that might be
yeah,
that might be the best advice she's ever been given, if the advice was given. But I think she's up to something. But we'll see. We'll see. Whatever happens with her, it doesn't surprise me nowadays. It's just like I just got to cross my fingers and hope that nothing serious happens. But I've been trying to pay attention to a lot of other cases. Like right now, Lindsay Clancy's going on trial, and that case has me pretty glued to the screen so far. Very interesting. It's the one. Have you heard about the Lindsay Clancy case? It's the girl that unalived her three kids and also tried to unalive herself by jumping out the window. Um, it, I guess they're going with like a postpartum depression, sort of like insanity plea kind of thing. It's out of Boston, and it's really tragic, no matter which way it ends up. But she's paralyzed now from her injuries, and I remember when her
Who
arrest
is it?
happened. Lindsay Clancy.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, Lindsay, look up Lindsay Clancy because her trial is like something I'm paying close attention to, and they're right now they're in jury selection. Jury selection is like
Oh,
the part they're in right now, but but they are going through like the defense strategies, and they're going through several trial motions, and it could really go either way because I really do think that Lindsay was suffering from some kind of postpartum psychosis or episode because again, like, especially reading a lot of the stories I've heard from other moms and other people that have had, similar experiences as Lindsay. And, it kind of reminded me of Andrea Yates. Like, it really had, you remember, who Andrea Yates is from Texas? She drowned all
oh
five of her
yeah.
children in the 90s. Yeah. There's a lot of similarities with that. So, I think they're definitely going to go for the mental health angle, and, rightly so. But it's another case right now that has me pretty glued to the screen. And like I said, no matter what happens with Lindsay's case, it's tragic all the way around. All three kids didn't survive, and she came out paralyzed. And I think her husband is going to be taking the stand in her defense. And I think he's also being called for the prosecution too. So
Okay.
it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be hard for jurors not to be emotional about a case like that because children are involved, little children. So it's going to be something that as a juror you're going to have to really divorce your feelings to make sure you follow the law. And or she could do what Mackenzie Shirilla did, and you can opt for a bench trial, put it in the hands of a judge, and let them, instead of 12 of your peers, your jurors of your peers, you could put it in the hands of a judge. A lot of people don't know that you have the option of doing a bench trial if you wanted to. You have the right to that, just like you do a trial of by a jury of your peers, as you can actually hand it off to a judge and do a bench trial.
Right.
So, and it depends. Like I said, I think some of the more emotional cases, I don't know why Mackenzie Shirilla did that. That still kind of baffles me, like, because again, Mackenzie didn't really have much of a defense. I mean, I'm still watching. There's a lot of videos that come out about her every day because Mackenzie's phone calls keep coming out.
Oh
And
yeah.
YouTubers keep, you know what I mean? And what baffles me about Mackenzie and her mom and the lack of self awareness is they say, even Mackenzie's mom themselves, like, oh, be careful, these calls are being recorded. And even though they know that and they acknowledge that, they still run off at the mouth. Some of the most incriminating stuff I've ever heard.
Oh yeah.
They just can't help themselves. It's like, and despite even acknowledging that what they're saying can and will get out, especially after the crash came on Netflix, they still can't help themselves. They were still running off at the mouth in ways like I never like imagined. I was like, wow. So again,
Yeah.
that's
I'm
another rabbit hole.
gonna.
It's another rabbit hole.
Yeah. I'm gonna look up on my other phone about that Lindsay person.
Yeah, Lindsay Clancy. She's really let me see. It's really, like I said, it's a very heartbreaking case. It's very hard to it's extremely hard to watch, especially knowing what happened. Like with the kids. It's gonna be a very emotional thing.
Hey, Justyn. Hey, J Love. How are you?
Hey.
How are you, Justyn?
Doing pretty good. Just
Awesome.
hey J Love, are you at work? It sounds like you're in a factory. I'm just curious.
Who? Me?
Yeah, it sounds like you're in one of those like conveyor. I forget what factory it is. But there's that one
No.
like noise that I don't know. I was just curious. Never mind.
No, I'm outside Walmart neighborhood
okay.
market, and I'm kind of
those
near
are,
the shopping
The
carts.
shopping carts. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
So that's what you're hearing.
it sounded very industrial. I was like, what is that coming from? I got you.
Yeah.
It's cool. You get your shopping done. But yeah, just Anyways, Janelle, how are you doing this fine?
I'm okay, thank you. I just sent Sweet as Honey your live as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she's one of my mods. So
Yeah, she's one of my good friends. Her and I are the we went together to Tennessee.
yeah, Amber's really cool. I've known her for a
Yeah,
while. I've known her
yeah,
since I've been on here for about a year now. I finally
yeah.
got my YouTube back. I thought, you know what's crazy is my old YouTube channel, I used to do politics, and I was over 50,000 subscribers, and
Wow,
mass reported for not even a video. It was just for a yes or no poll I was doing, and for some
wow.
reason they will not give my. It's like they will not tell me how I violated any guidelines. They do not. They will not give me any reasoning as to why they took my channel down,
Well,
and
Sweet and I aren't allowed on Wikipedia anymore because we changed some stuff and they blocked her BP or whatever.
yeah, that's wiki.
Yeah.
That's one thing I remember. Wikis, like anybody can contribute to wiki,
Oh,
like if,
100, yeah, yeah.
based on what they think they
And
know
we
about.
even cited everything too, and like they still were like, nope. So
Yep, but yeah, the whole. Do you have you heard about the Lindsay Clancy case, Janelle?
no, I have not actually.
Yeah, she unalived her three small children a few years ago, and she also jumped out the window to try to unalive herself, and she's paralyzed right now. But one thing that's going to be troubling for the jury is the fact that she purposely sent out her husband to go to a rest. She ordered food from a restaurant that was further out of town, so that way it would, it would take longer for him to come home. And so basically, as she sent him out to go get the food, that's when she commit the act. So it's going to be a little hard to get past the
She
deliberation.
obviously has like some sort of mental health like no one normal would do that. Like,
Yeah, but you know what,
wow.
my outlook really shifted when I started to read a lot of the. I know it may be anecdotal, but I've been reading a lot of stories from other women and their pregnancies, and after they had children in certain times of their lives where they had similar thoughts that Lindsay did at the time of why she
Wow.
did what she did, and it was eye opening for me. I was just like, you know what, like this could really go either way, and but what it really depends on what on the legality of it and how it can be litigated in the court of law. That's where it's
Right.
going to really come down. Is while this can and will be acknowledged as such, it's like does she get absolved of criminal responsibility? It's they're
Yeah.
really they have an uphill battle to mitigate her entirely. Like while like I said, like if jurors on that panel are going to get very emotional from
Oh,
the start,
100%. Yeah.
it's going to be very difficult for them to divorce themselves from their emotions and just follow the law. Even though that's what they are supposed to do. At the end of the day, we're all humans, and
Right? Yeah.
something like that is going to affect you. I mean, there's a couple cases that I've read about where even investigators. I'm not saying this one, but there's been some cases where even investigators would unalive themselves from the trauma
Wow.
they would see on a certain crime scene or something like that. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, especially if you're like a crime scene investigator or you're a forensic pathologist. You have to go out and see the real nitty gritty. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
My best friend, her dad was a homicide detective, and he went to one of the cases where it was a younger lady, and he was like, "Oh, she's probably about this age," and they were like, "Well, how did you know?" And he's like, "Because she has the same clothes my daughter wears," and like
wow.
that would have killed me. Like, yeah,
Yeah, that's one thing that's going to be very difficult in picking a
yeah,
judge, picking one that's just going to be unbiased and you follow the law to a T without getting overly emotional that these are small
yeah.
children that ended up, unalive from their own mother.
Hmm.
So, and again,
I
like,
think they need to find people that don't live in the same town as well. Like, I know it's hard, but like
yeah,
I know Swede and I just went to that case, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that everyone for 4 years had already heard about the case. They had already in their minds made up what they were going to do, and yeah,
that's why like the media plays a dangerous game, and a lot of judges,
huge,
yeah, when they put things out so big in the media before a trial takes place, there's
right?
there's the risk of having like jury bias,
Yeah.
and preconceived notions about a case before it even enters the courtroom. And I think that's where we have a slippery slope between like freedom of information and having a fair trial. So
Right.
it's like, while I do believe like everyone should have access to an open courtroom situation and a situation where we can view the information as it comes out or later on, I do think there should be a line that's drawn somewhere to make sure that you do receive a fair trial, without the potential of jury bias. And like I
Right.
said, you could get a sequestered jury from out of the county. There's times where they'll move the trial to another county, or they'll bus in a jury from another county. I've seen it happen
Right.
both
Yeah.
ways. If it hits too close to home, it hits too close to home. Especially, it depends on how big or small the community is.
Right.
So yeah, so like I said, and it also depends on the judge. It depends on the judge, and what they're willing to, and how, and also depends on the argument from the attorneys about the reasoning why sequestering a jury. And that's also another thing, jury sequestration, where it's like, even during the while the jury's viewing the case and they're going, the trial's taking place, it's commencing, you're still going to have the media coming out. You're not supposed to talk to anyone, not each other,
Nope.
not the media, not that you're supposed to be holed up in that hotel room from
Yeah.
start to end. And,
Yeah.
again, like, you got to imagine the emotional toll that could take on you, not just the fact that you have to take time off of work and you're doing your civic duty to serve
Yeah.
on a jury. But, it's like, if you're in a trial that's got sequestration or they have some special jury instructions, it's like, it's going to be a wild ride. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see where it goes. But like I said, at the end of the day, there's not going to be any winners in the Lindsay Clancy trial because the
No.
three children are not coming back. I know it's going to be probably a very emotional testimony for Patrick. That's her now ex-husband.
Yeah.
Because again, he got there before the police did. He found all three. He found his wife in the backyard first, completely bloody and
Oh my.
dropped glass all over the place from jumping out the window. She was on the verge of unaliving, and then he asked where all the kids were, and she said in the basement, and he had to go find them with exercise bands around their necks. So it
Oh
was
jeez.
not. It's a not for the faint of heart. And again, it's
Wow.
gonna.
Where
It's
did that?
gonna,
Where? What? Like? Where did that happen? What state?
Boston.
Okay.
In Worcester. It's like one of the outskirts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's underway right now. I remember when her initial arraignment, she was in the hospital during her arraignment because she's paralyzed at this point.
Yeah.
And she's been in a mental health facility. She hasn't been in jail. So
Yeah.
she's been which I think is a better place for her, all things considered, especially because
Mhm.
she needs assistance with mobility. She lost her mobility. And just altogether, I think this is a mental health issue that was at the
Oh,
core.
100%.
Again, there's so many parallels to Andrea Yates. You have the husband that seems a little bit clueless to what's going around, what's going on. He knows, and like
Well,
because
is that the one that when the doctor told them not to have anymore?
yeah, and that's
yeah.
Andrea Yates. It was the same
Yeah.
thing, but they were following these religious zealots at the time. They were like,
Yes.
no, have as many babies as you can. God keeps, as long as God wants you to have babies, you'll have babies.
Yeah.
Recklessly. And I think there was something kind of similar going on with the Clancys. Well, they already had their children, but Patrick and she committed herself at one point into a mental health facility,
Right.
and they were putting her on a merry-go-round of medications for like 4 weeks,
Yes.
4 to 6
Yeah.
weeks. And they weren't monitoring them long term or anything like that. And they just kind of guinea pigged her for a while and then released her. And it's like, at the very least, you should have had extended family members or like grandparents or somebody helping the situation out until the mental health crisis was underway. Leaving her just alone with the kids and just seeing what's going to happen. I mean, you see the result of that, unfortunately.
Well, yeah.
It's just like some of the husbands and boyfriends or, what have you, need to pay close attention to, because it's a real problem that I've read about extensively since this case about the postpartum depression issue among like females in their pregnancies. And it comes in different levels. Some don't have too many symptoms. Some are very, very light symptoms, and some will do what Lindsay did, have it that bad. And
a lot of people don't believe in it too. Like I know that like even
don't.
like in bigger like where I don't know, maybe it's worse in small towns, but I'm in a fairly big town and like even here, like it's not, people don't believe it for some reason. It's one of those
Very
like,
real. Because
yeah.
I read some pretty extensive, stuff on it, and it is in the DSM-5. It's recognized in the DSM-5, which I find,
Mhm.
it's one of the most credible sources in my opinion. It's okay, Justyn with a Y, just with an I, it's fine. But yeah, just altogether, it's going to be an emotional roller coaster of a case. And I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle for, just the trial altogether is to get a
Yeah.
fair trial without the jury, getting
Do you
overly.
ever go to any of the cases, or you just read up on them, or do you actually join any of them?
I haven't gone in person
No.
to. I mean, I've served on a jury a couple times.
Oh yeah, yeah.
One was a bank. One was actually a murder case, and another was a bank robbery.
Oh
And
wow.
and both of those cases were pretty open and shut. I think
Yeah.
the bank robber guy, he was like, this was like the third time of him doing this, so it's like it
Oh
was kind
gosh.
of writing was kind of on the wall to begin with. But again, it's like we meticulously poured over that evidence anyway, just to make sure that
Yeah.
there's no appellate issues that they could argue, so it was but again, like at the end of the day, like one thing that's pretty scary. Yeah, they did give her antipsychotics. They put her on a few different medications while
Yeah, they
she
had her
was
on a big cocktail of different things, and they mixed them around. I remember.
this is before
Yeah.
the incident happened, so but again, it's like I think it was way too soon to release her, not knowing which medication was working, because again, the ones that they put her on are ones that take time to build up in your system, takes time, and some of them are known for actually having the opposite effect. So I think it was very irresponsible of whatever hospital she was in to release her, not knowing exactly what effect this was going to have on her in the long term. I think she should have stayed in long term if she, depending. It also depends on how bad the symptoms were, and it's also a lot of self-reporting. If she's in there insisting she's perfectly okay, then what I mean. They can only keep you for so long, and plus, insurance companies want you out of there as fast as possible, obviously. So it always comes down to doctor and patient status, but also, insurance companies only wanted to keep you up there for so long. And then, but again, I think just for safety nets, that Patrick, the husband, should have had someone in the family or even like if you have to hire a temporary nanny because he was the breadwinner making pretty good money. Hire someone to help your wife while she's going through this. It seemed like she was just kind of thrown into the into the pit. And I'm just. I don't know. Like from what I understand, she's basically saying like there was voices that were telling her things about herself and her children, which yeah, 11 different meds in 12 weeks. Wow, Jen, I didn't know
That's
that
crazy. Yeah.
That is crazy. Especially these are ones that build up in your system.
Yeah, I was just gonna say some of them you need to actually like have time for them to work. Like
Yeah, like 2-3 weeks to get some of them to work, and
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. I
like
was
I know
like,
antidepressants, they don't just work right off the bat. Like they
right.
take some of them take a couple months for them
Oh,
to
I know. Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that they kept changing them out so quickly,
Mhm.
like that's crazy because again, it's like how do you even know one works, let alone 10 or 11 of them if you're not even giving them a chance to and if you're really not that sure and you're really like, you see this person like going through all these trials and errors, why would you release that person, in that critical state?
Yeah, in that trial state. Yeah.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, we now see the consequences of releasing someone prematurely, not knowing exactly what the problem is, let alone the solution.
Yeah.
So I hope this sets a precedent that they take mental health issues a lot more serious
Yes.
than they have been. So that is concerning.
100%. Yeah.
But
Hey,
yeah,
How are you
Justyn.
enjoying your new place?
I'm just going to step away for a moment. I might lose connection, but I'll be back.
okay, sounds good.
Bye,
I'll be here for a little
Caleb.
while. I'll be here for a little while. Yeah, just the summer's really nice right now. Just enjoying the summer and just
Way hotter than what you're used to, or
I mean, like it's everywhere. No matter where I am, it's always been pretty much like the same. Like if I'm upstate New York, it doesn't have the smog or anything like that. But in New York City, it's always like it feels like an exhaust pipe in your face.
yes,
Kinda,
yeah.
no matter where you are. So yeah, just trying to survive the summer. And
Oh, Sweet was saying it was like 107 or something the other day. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, in some places it gets quite hot. It
Yeah.
gets quite hot, but other than that, it's like actually, you know what happened in my apartment? Like I lost my air conditioning for 10 days.
Oh
They had
no.
they had to come grab, and the landlord had to come and put a just like a portable in here for a little while, just until they got it fixed. And it was still like, I mean, it was still so hot. It reached like 94 in here. You know what I mean? It's like it's a way to live. 94 degrees,
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, just trying to survive. Just trying to survive in the meantime. But Miss Gomez, how's everything going with you? I think her mic is off. I'm sorry. My friend Esperanza is in here. But yeah, just the other case that I'm paying attention to is the 16 kids in Ohio one.
The Snyders, right? Yeah.
Siders. Yeah, the
Siders, yeah.
My God, that is something else. Like, and then I believe the defense for Elizabeth, the mother of all the children, she's pregnant behind bars, by the way, to no surprise. It's like,
wow.
I mean, she's been a conveyor belt for babies, basically, for the last.
Did they get married when she was like 15 or something like that?
Something like that, like really young. Yeah, really young.
Hey, Jen.
Hey.
Jen.
Hey. I'm excited that you're going over the Siders case too. I wanted to see what you found out about it because I've been reading up on it myself, and wow.
Gary Senior is out on he's got out on his own recognizance and went straight to a hospital. I think the biggest reasoning for that is the fact that they can't take care of it. With his extensive health issues, he doesn't probably have much time left.
I heard he was on hospice a few days ago.
If you're on hospice, you do, because I've worked as a CNA in the dementia unit, and when you're on hospice, you have maybe very short time left. So
he's pretty sick then.
Yeah, he's on his last leg of life.
They didn't want the county, because it's a very poor county, to be stuck with the medical bills, so that's why they released him, which is smart, because I mean, this hospice is free.
It's not like he's going to be going anywhere. He doesn't have the capacity to go anywhere, let alone the resources. But I believe Elizabeth, is also wanting out with no bond as well, because she is at first, like, I kept hearing that she was not identifying herself as a victim in this, and then now the narrative has changed. Apparently she is a full victim in this, and her attorney's arguing. And then I heard something kind of ridiculous. I guess from her brother, Elizabeth's brother, saying that their hygiene was so poor because they're low IQ.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What?
Do with that what you will, but I thought that that's not really a justification for
some people with low IQ still know how to have a shower.
Right.
And Nick was low IQ, but he showered every day.
Right. And not keep 16 kids in a 12 by 12 room.
Yeah.
And I think they slipped under the cracks as well as they did, because they kept moving and moving and moving and going from here to there. It's like, I remember as soon as they were investigating 6 of the kids not attending school for 3 days, they up and move again. It's like, they were really trying to, up and keep going.
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they were really trying to slip through the cracks of the state by moving and moving. And, maybe they're just using the kids. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but, the more kids, the more welfare benefits you get.
That's what I was just going to say. You guys probably have welfare out there like in Canada. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you see 16 kids on that application, my God, it's just... But, I saw some YouTube videos of some random YouTubers going inside, because the house is, just sitting there now. And I saw, it looked like something out of like Ghost Hunters or something. It was really creepy stuff.
Oh, that's awful.
And it was horrible.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was real bad. I'm just like, it would be hard to picture.
Are the kids okay now? Like, now that they've gotten some
yes and no. Like the kid, again, the 18-year-old girl apparently can't even write her own name or spell her own name.
She's pregnant.
And she's pregnant.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some family affairs.
I was just gonna say that must be.
I don't want to put any assumptions out there, but I mean, I don't think was the 18-year-old out actively dating. Probably, I don't think so. If she couldn't even write her own name, I don't know if she would be out there socially too much. Just going on common sense. But I think Gary Jr. is going to be the biggest perpetrator out of this. From the evidence I'm seeing so far. Again,
I read that he married her. So the first baby she had was not his, but he married her when she was 15 and took responsibility for the first baby that she had at 13 or 14. And then literally he has had her pregnant every single year since he married her and has moved her around.
It's been like a conveyor belt, like for almost 2 decades. That's crazy.
He's a few years older than her too. So he was an adult when they got married. She was like almost 15 right before or on her 15th birthday, because that's when it was legal. I read something like that. And he was almost 20. So we're talking about a grown man.
I read that they changed the laws now, that they're making it like 18, where you can't get married until 18 or something.
Yeah, they should. Even with parent consent, they shouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
In most states, that is the case. Now, one thing that I'm reading about is that there was also like when they did the search warrant, or when they got the search warrant for the house and found all the kids, it was not even that the police showed up. They showed up because there's an indecency charge against Gary Jr. that they were addressing him about, and then when they went to the house, they discovered all the kids and like, oh my god, they got the search warrant for the house. This exploded into the media, and now we're where we are now. But apparently, they had to clear out hospitals in the local area and clear patients out of there for the kids because they were in such rough shape. Some of them were described as feral.
Wow.
So I mean, and the police actually said they keep their livestock in better condition than they kept those kids.
Oh my God.
They didn't even know English. 9 of them wasn't even speaking regular English. They were like speaking gibberish.
Some of them were mute and didn't even have speak. Again, the 18-year-old can't even write her own name.
Jeez.
So you gotta. But apparently, according to some family members and extended family members, they did go. A lot of them were going to school regularly, at least at one point. But I think there's been about a 4 to 6 year gap where no one in the family has made any contact with them. So I think they've just sort of been off the grid, because again, like they're trying to get statements from other family members. There's an aunt or so I think it's one of Gary Sr.'s nieces that's on Facebook speaking out a little bit, because I saw her profile. And she says back in the day, like, her grandparent, her aunt and uncle were very normal. Gary Sr. and his wife were very normal, clean, healthy, and they were very pleasant people. But again, I think the grandparents became sick. I heard the wife has like dementia, or she's got Alzheimer's, something like that. And then Gary Sr., as you know, is in hospice because he's practically on the tail end of his life. And then, again, this looks like an opportunity where, Gary Jr. was supposed to be stepping up and taking care of everybody. Instead, I think he was abusive and, very grooming, especially when it comes to how young Elizabeth was when, again, she's got a lot of mitigation on her side. I'm not sure if she's going to get off scot-free or completely, but I think Gary Jr. is going to have the book thrown at him pretty hard for this.
Yeah.
I wonder if she had some sort of Stockholm syndrome, or just that, when you get somebody and you just kind of brainwash them from a young age, if I want to think that that's got to be the case here, that a woman.
I would hope.
That.
Well, not hope, but yeah.
No, absolutely. Like, and again, like at first I was reading that she was not identifying as a victim. And then now I'm hearing like she also wants to get out of jail, like, with on her own recognizance kind of thing. Obviously, if that were to happen, or even if she got a reduction in her bond, what have you, she's going to be with heavy restrictions. She's going to have to wear an ankle monitor. She's probably going to have to be on house arrest somewhere. I mean, who knows what?
I think they should release her to a mental health facility, because obviously she's got some issues. I think I would be comfortable with that, because I think she has to have some sort of mental health issues going on.
Right. I would not want Gary Jr. out by any means. He's I think he's the main perpetrator.
And I think, all of this. She's probably the most rehabilitatable out of them all, type thing. Yeah.
Because according to her family, ever since she met the Siders, she was isolated from her family since that time. So obviously whatever happened pretty quickly, and when she was very young. So again, there's a lot of mitigation for her. Again, that's not going to get her off completely. She's going to have some complicity in this. But, she's been a conveyor belt for, she's basically like it's kind of like overbreeding a dog. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a
Yeah.
puppy mill.
Yeah.
This is like a human mill like situation.
Yeah.
Since
I did really-
13. Can you imagine being
Oh,
pregnant every
jeez.
year since you're 13 years old, since you've
Yeah.
hit puberty?
That's
Maybe the
insane.
postpartum or mental health issues it's going to bring
Right.
on. I mean, I can't imagine
I'm
what
surprised
she's
her
been.
body can handle having more that many kids. Doesn't a woman's body break down and to the point where it's like your reproductive system
Could.
doesn't even work anymore?
Yeah, I mean, you would think. But look at her. She looks so unhealthy. It's just, she looks like one of the kids to me. And she was a child when he got his hands on her. She was a
Absolutely.
child.
Absolutely. And she's only in like her early to mid 30s
I
at
think she's
best.
32. Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
that's very young and with an 18-year-old kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, that really makes you think. That's
Yeah.
something else. That's quite,
And her parents just gave her away.
Pretty
Like,
much.
oh yeah, here, take my 15-year-old.
Right,
Well,
and
they were together
they
when
could have
she was
called
14.
CPS. They could have called the police, CPS. They could have called anyone. Apparently, they didn't care enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they
I mean,
didn't. They
that's
signed a certificate to get her married at her 15th birthday.
right. Apparently, there was parental consent for this, so that really
Yeah.
makes me that
Yeah.
kind of like raises my eyebrows looking at her family with this. But again, she's got a lot of mitigation, but especially from the fact that she was as young as she was, and just being sort of indoctrinated into this family and lifestyle. And maybe it wasn't all bad at the beginning. Maybe it wasn't. At least not as bad as it is now. I mean,
Right.
one or two kids and growing, and joining a family, that's fine. But once you're stuck with 16 and another on the way, and your house is like, something worse than how they keep the livestock, according to the police, yeah, I'd say you've come to a place where, again, like they've rehoused the children, and again, like what they keep saying about that is it's going to be a real challenge for a lot of people to take on those kids because
Yeah.
the patience level is going to have to be very high because again, these children are uneducated. They've been put into
Special needs for sure. Yeah.
squalor conditions,
Yeah.
and who knows what kind of abuse they were getting from especially Gary Jr. over the years. So it's going to be a very big challenge. Probably a lot of PTSD among those kids. A lot of kids barely know how to speak, or if not, don't know how to speak at all. It's a very unique and horrific situation. It reminded me of the Turpins all over again.
Right.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And
And
it's
I think
hard to
this might
say
be a
that we
little
have
worse.
sympathy for Lindsay, and what she went through. And we know that, maybe she was sick and not have sympathy for the mom of, you know what I mean? Like for
Right.
the Snyder mom, it's, we can't do it both ways. I think we have to look at the biggest picture and look at that she was a baby having
Yeah.
babies every
Yeah.
single year and what that's done to her mental health. And not a normal mother with her regular mind wouldn't have a baby and put it in a basement and have another baby
Right.
and have another baby. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
something was
Something's
happening.
not right. I mean,
Yeah.
whether that's a competency issue or maybe Elizabeth is maybe she, according to her brother, maybe she is low IQ. Maybe she can't make cognitive decisions and think about things like this. Maybe
Right.
her common sense isn't there. But again, like they're gonna do all kinds of. She's probably gonna speak with endless psychiatrists and psychologists, and the defense is gonna prepare her probably for a mitigation. Like they're gonna probably have the truth go somewhere down the middle, where it's like, yeah, there's complicity here, but at the same time, it's just like here's everything that's wrong with her and then some. So it's just
What
sort
was
of
the
like
name of the case, Justin? Remember the 3 girls in Detroit who was held hostage and had babies and by that crazy guy?
Ariel
Remember
Castro.
the third girl, Castro? That's right. Remember
Ariel
the third
Castro.
girl
Yep.
had
I remember
empathy.
that
She wanted to
case.
go back. She felt bad for him. You get, when you're stuck in a situation for so
That's like
long, your
Stockholm
brain
Yeah.
syndrome. Stockholm
indoctrination.
syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It
And
kind
I
of
think
reminds
maybe
me.
that's
Have you seen that? Have you seen that documentary on Netflix with that guy Samuel Bateman? It's I Trust Me about the false prophet.
no.
Oh, you
No.
would not. He was taking advantage of an FLDS situation where he was a polygamist that got married to I think 20 wives, I want to say, and some of them
Oh, wow.
one of them was as young as 10 years old. 10.
Oh, God.
10 years old. I mean, I wanted to
awful.
I wanted to punch the screen. I swear to God. Thank God this guy's locked away. But you should see the balls this guy had. Like thinking like he was just gonna. And again, he was like forcing them into labor. He had Bentleys. He had like Bentleys and all these luxury cars because he had these girls essentially like working all these jobs and like remodeling houses and cleaning all these offices and hotels, and he was just
Wow.
taking the money and spending it on himself. And then he was
Wow.
also, oh, it gets worse. He was also sharing some of those underage wives with friends of his.
Oh my God.
I mean, I mean, if you go on Netflix, it's on there right now. It's a wild ride. It's called Trust Me. I believe it's called The False Prophet. It is. If you knew who Tom Green was, and not the guy from MTV, he was another polygamist from the '90s that had like
Yes, I know you're
13,
talking about.
14 wives.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like that, but on steroids. Like way
And
worse.
those
Way
girls
worse.
probably loved him and thought they were doing the right thing. And this is,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yes.
He probably had a
No,
brain.
they did. They
Yeah.
were crying over the fact that they were being investigated. I mean, it's really really interesting because the people actually doing the documentary have them convinced that they're trying to document their lifestyle, but behind the scenes, it was a takedown. So
Wow.
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see that happen in real time while they think they're being documented on like and that's why Sam Bateman really came out with intimate details because
Yeah. I
Sam
bet.
Bateman trusted the filmmakers because it's a husband and wife team,
Mhm.
and basically they got him to confess some of the most horrible stuff. I mean, and like really like out in the open. This guy had some balls doing that, thinking that no one was going to say anything about this. And again, like he really fancied himself like. I mean, he got all these women to fall in love with him, and like he
Yeah.
basically came in like because that guy Warren Jeffs, he
Yeah.
was basically replacing him, and like basically saying I am Warren Jeff's replacement. He took this guy's a really sick P3DO that saw like an opportunity to become a polygamist with all these women, and then they're getting younger and younger and younger and younger, and you know what I mean? It just turned into this explosion, and you should see all the sexual stuff he talks about. I mean, it's a wild ride. Proceed with caution if you watch it. It's going to make you very very angry. But it had like it took those girls. A few of the girls had also went to prison because they were complicit in giving the girls to some of the other men, including Samuel. And when they went to prison is actually when they got their freedom back
Yeah.
like mentally. So you get to hear from them and see them in real time between like when they got arrested and when they were completely indoctrinated into the situation and then, becoming like, snapping out of it finally. Because, they were FLDS, they're living in ancient times,
Right.
basically. But again, like, he claimed to be a prophet and they believed him because they were vulnerable women that needed something to believe in. Warren Jeffs was their martyr that went to jail for, because, he was martyred from God or whatever. I mean, it's really sick stuff. And
Yeah. It just goes to
it's
show us
very,
how the brain can be so manipulated, I mean,
oh
look at the
yeah, I
Manson
mean,
girls,
oh, you
they,
know what
they,
else? You know what else is a rabbit hole? Is that whole Twin Flames universe thing. Have you heard about that?
wow. Mm-mm.
Oh my God. There's a documentary called, what is it called? Escaping Twin Flames. Go watch that. That's going to
Okay.
make you very angry because it's going on right now still. Right now.
I'm gonna look it
Like go
up.
to like their Facebook page. This guy makes this couple rather has made millions of dollars off of lonely women. I mean, it's to the point where most of their members are women, and they pair them up together and make one has to be a masculine energy, the other one has to be a feminine, and they actually have one of the two transition to be a man.
Oh
Like they're
my
actually
God.
coercing like women to become men so they can be like a platonic or whatever, a straight couple or whatever, even though it's like forcing transgenderism onto them. It's one of the
Oh my
craziest things I've
God.
ever seen. Yeah, and it's caused like unaliving of themselves. It's caused all kinds of the moms and people involved. And again, they're dancing just on the razor's edge of the law. And the reason they even admitted this in the documentary because one girl that ended up leaving the whole group, she had the hard drive where he basically admitted that they put religion into the whole twin flames thing, so they didn't have to pay taxes and they didn't have to pay any employees. That basically it's slave labor, and they were protected by the
Yeah.
they were protected. It's one
By the
again.
church.
You're going to become very angry very quickly.
I just wrote it down. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Proceed with caution watching those. And again, the Twin Flames one is still going on right now, and but they did launch a federal investigation into them as of last year, and I think they're taking their sweet ass time to make sure that whatever charges they put on them are going to stick. So when people again like when you see someone not getting arrested right away or something is taking a little bit of time, you know what I mean? You have to, most of the time from what I've seen, especially with like the Dan Markel case, it took 9 years to arrest the people that were actually responsible for that case. at least starting to, because they really want to get their ducks in a row and make sure they don't screw it up. Because you get one crack at that apple, and they get an acquittal, or they find some technicality to get them off, and it's over. So it's just one of those things where it's just like when you watch these docos, you're gonna get real pissed off real quick. So,
you always have the best suggestions.
like I said, they're very interesting. They're very anger inducing, but I think for awareness, it's worth a watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
But the Samuel Bateman one is definitely going to be. This is like, again, Nexium. If Keith Raniere and Nexium, it's like that, except with children.
Oh wow!
So
really?
Yeah, it's one, and it's one of the. Well, actually, no, the Twin Flames one is probably more like Keith Raniere, because the whole online he advertises it as like spiritual coaching, but there's a lot of, again, like trying to get, like, they pair up two women because no men want anything to do with this, because like this charismatic male in component in this, it's like us men could see through this guy in 3 seconds and see what a coward and an actual pussy he is. But a lonely woman or lonely women that are very weak-willed and vulnerable are going to fall into a trap like this very easily.
And I'm sure that's the kind they're looking for. Those vulnerable, lonely
they
women.
want to exploit them in seconds, and when they get them to hand over all their bank accounts, hand over their livelihoods and everything else, it's once you dig yourself deep enough, the deeper you dig, the harder it is to get out, because you don't want to admit that you've been living a lie.
Right.
You don't want to admit that everything that this person's been leading you up to is basically for nothing. But again, it's caused shmuicides. It's caused and then one of the first things that Twin Flame group has you do is ostracize your entire family.
Yep, always.
And everything is for a price. Like, they have taken, like, dude, they have like a video game section where you have to pay like $2,000 to be in their Minecraft universe. They have recipes that you can pay for. They're like $1,000. Like, they're taking all these like parts of the industry, just adding like some divine spiritual name to it and charging some ridiculous price tag and grifting off. It's one of the biggest ridiculous grifts. And then and the leaders of this, especially the male, makes videos of his new Porsche and his new all these toys and this mansion, and they just brought a baby into the mix now too. So just what we need.
Oh wow!
Again, you're gonna get pissed off pretty quickly. So
I can't wait. God.
If you want to, just don't break your TV. You know what I mean? Don't break your TV if you can.
I'll try not to, but I get mad at stuff like that too.
You'll get mad at these. I promise you'll get mad, but at the same time, you're gonna be. I think the awareness factor is like, it's worth knowing. Yeah. I'd rather, I'm not one of those ignorance is bliss types people. Like, while this is something that'll disturb me, I do want to know, like, things like this exists. So it's like, we don't in case we do finally get rid of people like this in some way, whether they go to jail or what have you, we don't have like history repeating itself, because we don't want to see people, places, or things like this again. So again, it's one of the craziest couple of documentaries I've seen in a while. But I don't mean to cut this short, but I do have to get going for now. But I recommend those documentaries. The Lindsay Clancy case, Janelle, look into that case. It's going on right now. I would love to talk more about. Obviously, I'm in the Gypverse. We're going to talk Gypsy Rose, obviously, but I love talking about other cases. If we get a chance to.
Yeah,
so.
Me too.
All right.
Thanks for having me up. Have a good night at work, and I'll catch you the next time you're on. I'm going to watch that documentary tonight for sure.
Yeah.
Take it easy, Justyn.
Let me know what you guys think of it later.
Will do. All right, sweetie. Have a good day.